Doug Ford, the late Rob Ford's sterner, slighter brother, has returned to the Toronto news cycle on a mission to land the city's highest office. Ford announced last week at his family's annual Ford Fest cookout, "I've been and say what you will about the Fords, but they throw a great barbecue," that he plans to take on John Tory in the 2018 mayoral race, a man Ford recently described as all talk, no action. And yet, according to a new poll released on Tuesday, it may be Ford himself whom Tory will one day describe as all talk and no action. The poll, conducted by Main Street/Post Media, indicates that if a Toronto mayoral race were held today, Ford would lose badly to Tory. According to the poll, Tory wins easily against Ford with a 27-point lead. However, if Tory faces both Ford and City Councillor Mike Layton, the progressive vote splits and Tory loses 20 points. John Tory has nothing to fear from a one-on-one matchup against Doug Ford, said Kito Maggie, president of Main Street Research, said in a statement about the poll. But things get much more interesting if there's a strong progressive candidate in the race. Well, here's hoping things don't get much more interesting. Here's hoping they stay nice and boring. Interesting is great in every context except politics. It's great when you're watching a TED Talk or that new Netflix documentary Diana. Interesting is not so great when the future of your city is at stake. Luckily, for those of us who aren't keen on an interesting Ford more years, Doug Ford doesn't appear to have the lovable loser quality that ingratiated so many to his younger brother. As Ashley Chanity, host of the political podcast Canada Land Commons, put it on the air this week, despite being wealthy, Rob Ford had a man of the people vibe to him. And Doug does not. Put another way, where Rob Ford was a coach, Doug is more management, hair slicked back, icy stare, dark suit. He's kind of like Gordon Bombay in the Mighty Ducks, pre-community service. Silly analogies aside, Doug Ford may lose to Tory in 2018 because another tawny populist succeeded in 2016. I'm talking about US President Donald Trump, a walking warning to the world that proclaims, "This is what happens when you aren't vigilant. This is what happens when you don't take bullies at their word." Doug Ford is not Trump, but he excels at a similar style, one that is brash, flashy and contemptuous of media. Hopefully Torontonians, even some who voted for Ford, are put off by such a style in light of recent world events. After all, Canadians at large are put off by it. According to another poll, this one also from Main Street/Post Media, in February, only 16% of Canadians would call President Trump honest, only 21% would call him rational, and only 23% would call him inspirational. While Canada isn't by any means immune to populist creep, many in our nation are less keen on populist bravado than they might have been pre-Trump presidency, and, if Tory is smart, he'll play to those fears when he faces Ford next year. But there's a catch, of course. This, from the same February poll, while Canadians disapprove of Trump, 84%, 53% approve of his economic policy, higher than the 43% who approve of Trudeau's economic plan. In other words, Trumpism can win here, and so too can its cousin, Fordism, for a second time. Which is why in the event that Doug Ford gives John Tory a serious run for his money in 2018, I have a suggestion for our notoriously wooden mayor: fight Ford tactics with Ford tactics, while at the same time remaining a mensch. Be nice but be bold. Host your own bash, John Fest, complete with a classic rock cover band that pins an original tune just for you. Better yet, develop your own barbecue sauce, John's Own, and donate all the proceeds from the sauce to a children's sports charity. When you win, you can go back to being boring and we can rest a little easier until the next Ford takes the podium. Play video play loaded, 0% progress, 0% remaining time 0:00. This is a modal window. Foreground, white black red green blue yellow magenta cyan, opaque semi-opaque background, white black red green blue yellow magenta cyan, opaque semi-transparent transparent window, white black red green blue yellow magenta cyan, Opaque semi-transparent transparent font size 50% 75% 100% 125% 150% 175% 200% 300% 400% text edge style non-raised depressed uniform drop shadow font family default monospace serif proportional serif monospace sans serif proportional sans serif casual script small caps defaults done.